Dr. Zumani Zimba, thank you so much for making the time to appear on this day tonight.
Thank you so much. It's always my pleasure to be on this platform, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. We haven't spoken in over a year.
Correct.
The last time we spoke was, I think, 5 months before the death of President Edgar Lungu, and we had a very good chat.
Yes, yes.
I would like to begin from understanding what the status of Tonse Alliance is at the moment.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Tonse Alliance is in good shape politically, because at the beginning of this year, which is January, and the very first week of January, we had to organize ourselves to begin to strategize for the August 2026 elections. In terms of numerical numbers, we have lost some few members, given the fact that from the time our founding president and chairman, Dr. Edgar Lungu, died to date, we have not made any progress politically. So there have been frustrations among our members who wanted that the death of ECL should have seen specific amendments to the constitution in order to bring everybody to political equality and political potence and clear direction. You may be aware that the Tonse Alliance was designed around the comeback of Edgar Lungu into politics, and also to allow him to contest for 2026 as a presidential candidate. Consequently, the Tonse Alliance constitution specifically enshrines ECL, Dr. Edgar Lungu by name, as the Alliance chairman and 2026 presidential candidate. So the moment he died in June last year, we had a leadership crisis, because everything crumbled, because it was centered around his presidency and his candidature. Before he died, of course, was blocked by Concord to contest. And in his wisdom, he said, since it was around him as a candidate, as former president, he said, I'm going to pick a presidential candidate and a running mate under the Plan B concept. So his Plan B was one that the Alliance hoped for and waited, that once ECO unveils that candidate and the running mate, the Alliance will run with it. Unfortunately, he died before announcing it. So we had a moment of political darkness and leadership crisis from June last year to date. The reason is very simple. Members now started demanding that we amend the constitution to allow other Tonse Alliance members to contest that position, because they joined Tonse not because of PF. They joined Tonse because they believed in the leadership of Dr. Edgar Lungu as a chairman and as a candidate. So the rule of the game in terms of joining the alliance is very simple. The procedure is that when we invite you as a political party or as an organization, we'll share with you our constitution to read. Once you appreciate it and agree, then you'll be invited to come and sign it and then unveil it. So all of them, be it FDD, be it Christian Democratic Party, be it PAPE under Sean Tembo, be it Zambia Must Prosper under KBF, be it Mr. Amsoni and the All People's Congress, be it Dr. Cosmo Mumba, anybody and everybody who joined Tonse Alliance. They joined Tonse Alliance knowing fully that their chairman and their presidential candidate was ECL.
What has been your role in the Tonse Alliance all this while?
My role? I'm the chief architect. That's why I'm called the lead consultant.
What do you mean chief architect?
Designer, creator of the alliance. So when we discovered that ECL had challenges to exert his leadership on UCA, and UCA brought a lot of politics of stagnation and lack of progress around him or to endorse him, we had to create an alliance. Sean Tembo and myself created Tonse Alliance. And we went to present it to ECL and convinced him that we wanted him now to contest as a presidential candidate on that platform. So my role has been that of an initiator of the alliance alongside Sean Tembo. I'm the one who drafted the first constitution of Tonse Alliance. Sean Tembo worked on those logos you see today in Tonse Alliance and everything, the branding and everything. So me and Sean Tembo are instrumental around designing Tonse Alliance, specifically to allow ECL to transition from UCA to an alliance which is in his name. An alliance which doesn't bring competition to him, but an alliance which guarantees him to be a candidate and to be the main stakeholder. So I've been at the center of this from creation to date. That's the reason why I'm the national coordinator and lead consultant.
Lead consultant. Let's talk about what happened yesterday when Dr. Danny Poli had that press briefing to announce some of the constitutional changes that you've effected, to the constitution of Tonse. The Patriotic Front, faction led by acting President Given Lwinda, has disowned that meeting, calling it illegal and calling for people to ignore whatever resolutions were made. Who convened the meeting that you had? Was the Patriotic Front, led by acting President Lwinda, invited? All this while, as the public, we've known that he's been the acting chairman of the Tonse Alliance. Why wasn't he invited?
Okay, thank you. So there is nothing sinister about the Tuesday virtual meeting for the Council of Leaders. Everything was done according to the Constitution of Tonse. Everything was done according to procedure. And everybody was aware about that meeting, including Honorable Lwinda and his team. We do convene Tonse Alliance meetings through a WhatsApp group of Council of Leaders where everybody is. I am the one who communicates. I convene once the chairman gives me notice that we need to convene a meeting.
So
as national coordinator, I convene, I give notice, and I always share that notice in the WhatsApp group. It's not public. And in that WhatsApp group, there is everybody until yesterday. So before the meeting was convened, we gave a notice because there was a petition by other Council Alliance members, Tonse Alliance members, that they needed the amendments to speed up. Last month in December, we had scheduled a meeting that we are going to have a comprehensive constitutional amendment on 20th January in order to allow us to participate in the Chawama by-elections effectively. Others protested, but others, majority insisted, no, let's delay until 20th January. We're going to have comprehensive amendments. So these amendments have been on the table. But the Council of Leaders was petitioned by 4 other members officially that we can't wait for 20th January because Tonse Alliance members were living out of frustrations because there was no progress. So we saw that the Green Party withdrew from Tonse Alliance and went to endorse Mr. Fred Membe of the Socialist Party as the presidential candidate. The People's Party Alliance also did the same. So now we were at a point of where we are seeing the alliance sinking, and the 20th January date was becoming too far. All People's Congress, Mr. Nason Musoni, gave a notice that they'll be withdrawing from the alliance because there is no progress. Now you need to appreciate that the lack of progress in Tonse politically has been necessitated by the lack of progress in the PF. The PF was given an opportunity by the Tonse Alliance to choose its leadership up to 29th November 2025. To the effect that once they choose the leader, then they bring the leader to the Tonse Alliance, and the Tonse Alliance will go to General Congress with that leader from PF and allow others then to compete with that leader or just to validate and endorse that leader. So the Tonse Alliance General Congress is the final body to choose or endorse a leader. 29th November came, the PF changed their position. They became a problem in terms of giving leadership, both to the party themselves as well as to the alliance. So the alliance gave them options through President Peter Sinkamba, who left, and the Green Party and People's Party. That, look, in the Tonse Constitution, we don't have the PF party. It's not a member. ECO came with the ECO-PF movement to the Tonse Alliance. Why can't you have your Congress, your convention as PF leaders under the ECO-PF movement, which is recognized by the Tonse Constitution? And the People's Party to give you a platform, the police permits and these are, they refused. So the alliance reached a point where they had to make a decision towards the end of last month and this month, as you saw, to say, let's just amend the constitution because members are leaving us. If we don't wait for January 20th, we may not have the members here. So that is what necessitated the meeting. Number 2, the meeting was called accordingly. Article 14 and Article 12 of the Tonse Alliance Constitution. I don't know if you have a copy. I have a copy here. It still stipulates that in the absence of the chairman, the person who must chair the meetings is the vice chairman. And the vice chairman at Tonse Alliance is Professor Dan Pule. You need to take note that when President Longo left for South Africa for medication in January, we had a lot of Council of Leaders meetings that were chaired by Professor Dan Pule, attended by Honorable Lubinda, SG Nakachinda, and everybody from the PF, because they were respecting the Tonse Alliance constitution up to that far. The leadership crisis only came in when Professor Dan Pule himself also went for medical treatment in India. So we didn't have both the chairman and the vice chairman. After a lot of delay and discussions, that's when, in his wisdom, Honorable President Lungu appointed Honorable Lubinda to act in the absence of himself and the Professor Pule. That's the only time Honorable Lubinda comes in the picture. The 2 months ECA was out and Professor Pule was around. Professor Pule was the one who was chairing the meetings alone. When Professor Pule came back after his treatment in India, Honorable Lubinda refused to hand over power, the chairmanship, to the constitutional vice chairman. And that's where we had wrangles. So myself and Sean Tembo, Mr. KBF and others supported the position that the coming back of Professor Pule warranted Honorable Lubinda to hand over. He refused with his PF team and a few others. So we had 2 camps until, unfortunately, our president and the chairman died. So ECO died when we had a camp of Lubinda and a camp of Pule. In the process, towards October and September, October last year, there was a reconciliation after you saw our battles in the media. That out of respect for ECL, let's allow Professor Pule to be co-chairing with the Honorable Lubinda, so that in case there is a meeting, either both of them sit as chairpersons, co-chairpersons, or when one of them is not present, one of them can chair. So from September, October, up to this far, that's how we've been operating. Both Honorable Lubinda and Professor Pule are co-chairpersons at par. No one is senior, no one is junior. It was a compromise, so that we sustain that until we elect a new person. But what we discovered is that there was a lot of delay, a lot of political...
With these changes that have been made to the Constitution, have those that left returned? Because you said you couldn't have waited until the 20th of January because political parties began to leave.
Yes.
So with those changes that you've effected, have this come back?
If they come back, they'll be welcomed. If they don't come back, we have no control because it's their political decision. So let me tell you this. If you read the article which provides for the Council of Leaders, the quorum is 15 Council of Leaders for any Council of Leaders meeting for the Tonse Alliance. 15 members plus the chairperson. Either Honorable Lubinda or Professor Pule, or both of them. A notice was given to all of them. Professor Pule communicated. I communicated a notice. Everyone in the group was reading and responding, saying, look, let's respond to these petitions to amend the Constitution before 20 in order to retain these one to leave, and they have not left. The PF was aware. Everybody from the PF camp was aware. The meeting was set for Tuesday virtually at 16 hours. They raised a point of order. I think Honorable Mao-Sampa, that there is a rally in Chawama at 14. The meeting was adjourned to say no, in order to allow full participation of everybody. Let the meeting start at 18. It's virtually after the rally during the afternoons. What do? I think around 15, 16, we saw some PF leaders exiting the group in protest to say no, this meeting cannot go ahead. So Honorable Mao-Sampa himself exited the group. MCC Kiwombwe, who is a right-hand man of Honorable Lubinda, also left the group and left notice that we have left Tonse Alliance because there are problems, people who do not want to respect us as PF. And I think Mr. Rich Musoma also left the group in protest. No, I've left Tonse Alliance. So on Tuesday, we saw some PF MCCs leaving the group and announcing that they've left Tonse Alliance.
Leaving the WhatsApp group?
Yeah, the WhatsApp group. But in leaving the message, they've left Tonse. But Honorable Lubinda remained in the group, and a few others. Honorable Jean Kapata remained in the group. Honorable Professor Ruo remained. Honorable Mundubile remained. Honorable Kampiongo remained. P.S. Chomba remained. Honorable Dr. Kafoya remained. So when the meeting was starting at 18, we had to go ahead. But I think that they were leaving in order to collapse the quorum. That's my understanding. They wanted to sabotage the meeting. That's why they are sabotaging. But others were leaving with the clear message that they've left Tonse. When the meeting started at 18, the chair, one of the chair, Honorable Professor Pule, came up. We waited for Honorable Win. I didn't connect because it's a virtual meeting. You are invited, all of you in the group. So you just respond. And we formed the quorum. So we had more than 23 participants. And from the PF, we had Honorable Munduvile, we had the Honorable Stephen Kampiongo, we had Madam Jean Kapata, we had the Honorable Kafwaya, we had PS Chomba, we had the Honorable Davis Mwira. So we had a lot of bigger number from the PF people, so that participated actively. From the political parties in Tonse, we had FDD,
they were in agreement with the changes.
Yes, because those resolutions were making them unanimously. We could ask, Professor Pule could ask anyone who has got objections. They also object and give reasons. So some of the moderations in terms of what came out, it's because of the interventions from other members of the PF. For example, the petitioners wanted that all the numbers in the Council of Leaders must be equal, because PF is no longer an anchor party. They never wanted that of the anchorship because, one, it was an anchor party because it had the former president,
yes,
who is no longer there. It was an anchor party because it had these members of parliament who are united. So we thought that as an alliance, we'll be winning battles at parliament through their MPs.
Yep.
Their MPs of PF are disintegrated at parliament. We even lost BIF7. Some are even now actively working with the UPND. So, and two, the PF itself is in different divisions and factions. So the many Tonse Alliance members advocated that no, there should be no anchor party. We should be all equal in the alliance. So meaning that if we have three numbers from each organization, either Green Party, All People's Congress, FDD, and the PF ECO movement must also present 3 people. But I think they argued their case like, look, we may be divided, disintegrated, we don't have a former president, but as ECO PF movement, we still have structures and people loyal across the country to us. That will help the alliance mobilize. Hence, they were given 7 people to be representing the ECOPF movement, as opposed to other political parties that have got the 3 and 4, and others will be having 1. So it was because there was a lot of input and participation from the PF members. We had all the 6 political parties in that virtual meeting. FDD, State Council Chifumu Banda, Christian Democratic Party, Professor Paul himself was the chair. We had the Dr. Cosmo Mumba, the National Revolutionary Party. We had All People's Congress, Mr. Musoni. We had Mr. Chafwepa representing the NFF. So all the 6 political parties participated. And as I said, all the NGOs also participated, maybe unless maybe 1 or 2. That's the reason why the number was above 23. There is no basis for anybody to claim that the meeting is now and void is illegal. No, it was constitutionally convened and validly so because it was also correctly chaired by Professor Pule, who by the Constitution is the one who's supposed to chair the Council of Leaders in the absence of ECL.
So we must disregard what Luwinda said at the moment.
That is, I think, political mockery to the alliance, and I think that is, to me, political comedy. He understands very well the procedures and the standings of the alliance by the Constitution. The meeting was validly called upon, and the meeting was in order. And the resolutions are constitutionally binding. That is the point.
Is Tonse Alliance a viable project without the Patriotic Front?
Tonse Alliance is a viable project.
I say so
without Patriotic Front as a party. I want to answer that. Without Patriotic Front as a party, because PF as a party has never been part of Tonse. Read that constitution of the Tonse Alliance. Read Article 12. You may read for me. I think Article 12. So that we know what we are doing. We don't want to speculate or speak without facts.
It says
Article 12
D.
D, yes. D. Read D for me.
D says the maximum number of seats of the Council of Leaders shall be 30. The anchor party, the ECO Patriotic Front political movement.
So just repeat that again. The anchor party?
The anchor party, the ECO Patriotic Front political movement.
Okay. Article 12, go to 12. Just a reverse.
I'm on 12?
No, sorry, 10. In this case, or even just 11. 11, 1, just 1.
Given that it is resolved and agreed that the 2026 presidential candidate shall come from the ECO Patriotic Front political movement, Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu shall immediately assume the position of the chairperson of the alliance as well as candidate after accepting his candidacy adoption at the official launch of the alliance to the exclusion of the General Congress since Tonse is a moving electoral pact?
Okay, thank you so much. So we can read, there are many such provisions. A member of the Tonse Alliance is not the PF party, it's the ECO-PF movement. ECL and ourselves, we are guided by ECL, never put PF party as a member of the alliance because PF now is with the UPND through Chavinga and Mawa Samba. So we never wanted to transfer the drama by bringing PF party because they would have been petitioning the alliance. They would have been fighting the alliance with the courts. So PF has never been a member of the alliance. It is the ECO-PF movement which is a member. And up to now, that is still a member. It has never been. So what is the ECO-PF movement? This is a pressure group of the PF members, followers, and loyalists of ECO as former president himself. So ECO went to the Tonse Alliance with his own followers, be it MPs, councillors, or MCCs. Those that believed in him are the ones he took to the Tonse Alliance. And to date, that's a movement that has remained a member of the alliance with the highest number of representation in the Council of Leaders and at the General Congress. PF as a party has not. That's the reason why Honorable Winda and his team, they were asked to leave Tonse because what they bring to Tonse, they insist they want to bring PF. Wait for us, we're in the court with Chavinga. Wait for us, the matter is coming on such a day. ECA, when he was coming to Tonse Alliance, he didn't want the party because he knew that the party was already captured and it traded off or auctioned to the UPND and it will never come back to the PF. So we wanted to relieve.
So let me revise my question. Is Tonse Alliance a viable project without the ECO-PF movement?
No. It is not, because it is the main player even to date. Even with these resolutions and amendment, the ECO-PF movement is the main player. That's the reason why, as I said, it has got 7 slots at the Council of Leaders. It has only reduced from 15 to 7. The rest have got 3, others 4 highest, others 2. So it is still the main stakeholder because it has got the structures and membership countrywide loyal to ECL. People are willing to defend and sustain the ECL legacy. The members of parliament are in Tonse Alliance. They have remained. Why? We do have the Tonse Alliance Parliamentary Committee headed by Honorable Mundubire. His vice is State Council Chifumu Banda, appointed by ECL. So those members of parliament, they may belong to PF as a party, but ultimately in Tonse, they belong to the ECO-PF movement because there is a Tonse Alliance Parliamentary Committee. That remains untouched. The members of parliament that voted against Bill 7, they are defending the legacy of ECL. ECL denounced Bill 7. ECL died fighting against Bill 7 and other injustices in Zambia. Those PF MPs who didn't vote for Bill 7, they are still members of the ECO-PF movement in Tonse Alliance. It is these people who are fighting with Chavinga in court under Honorable Winda and Chavinga himself. That is the faction that has been uprooted from the Tonse Alliance because it brings liabilities, political liabilities, it brings political risks. It makes Tonse Alliance to be held at ransom because they want us to delay for them to fight legal battles. They want us to delay for them to maybe to have a convention in November.
So help us understand, because according to the resolutions, you are the first that represents the PF movement for ECL.
Yes.
How are you reconciling these divisions within the Patriotic Front so that as you present this PF movement, it's a solidified PF movement? Because according to what I'm hearing from you, there's Luwinda's and there's Brian Mundubile and all those people. How are you consolidating to ensure that you solidify this face?
I hear you.
As you present to Tonse.
I hear you. Number one is that the Tonse Alliance founder leaders recognize me as the face of the ECO-PF movement in the absence of ECO because I'm the one who took the ECO-PF movement to Tonse Alliance with ECL. So there is nobody in PF who claims to understand the ECO-PF movement than me. We created with ECL, myself and ECL, and took it to Tonse. Even at the point when I was trying to convince him last month that, look, in November, abandon your convention under PF party because it's politically not feasible. Let's use what ECL left us, the ECO-PF movement, and the Tonse Alliance. They refused. So I'm the defender of now the ECO-PF movement in Tonse Alliance and outside Tonse because I'm the one who believes in it and who took it to the Tonse Alliance with ECL. These others, like the Honorable Luwinda and the team, They believe in the PF party politics and structures, MCCs, Central Committee. In Tonse, that is not recognized. That's the reason why you see, when Isia was blocked from contesting, he didn't say, I'll go to Central Committee of PF to choose a leader. I'll go to the convention of PF to choose the president and bring him to Tonse. No, he didn't say that. Because he was running a movement headed by himself, the ECLPF movement. He said, I will choose my successor in Tonse Alliance. And he called it Plan B. It had nothing to do with PF as a party. It had nothing to do with the Central Committee. It had nothing to do with the PF National Convention. Had ECO been alive today, there wouldn't have been a PF National Convention. Because he never believed in that approach of the political party. He believed in his movement, where himself was the supreme leader and himself could make decisions because people came to Tonse believing in him and he was the main torchbearer. So, to answer your question, we are open as the ECUPF movement to embrace anybody, including all those presidential candidates who are contesting, to come back into Tonse, provided they don't come with PF party, fighting with Chavinga, because that's a liability, that's a risk we don't want to entertain. It has dragged us, progress, we have made zero progress because they keep on procrastinating and delaying.
Honorable Mawasam has gone, you know, has come against you. In fact, it's gone for your throat. He says that, how do we put someone as PF movement face the one who made ECO lose elections? Is the one who's trying to act as a face of this particular movement. What do you have to say about that?
That's who? Who said that?
Mawasam.
Oh, I see. There lies a problem. You know, we created Tonse Alliance because ECO became stuck. ECO was humiliated. ECO was embarrassed politically and undressed. By who? The same man. He took away PF and traded it to the ruling party. I hope you understand that. That's a fact. So ECO died a sad man. He died a painful death. Because the party that was left to him by Michael Sata was gotten away from him through the same person I've mentioned, Honorable Sampan Chavinga. And now that it is in the hands of the ruling party, and it's in political partnership with the ruling party. I was not the one who sought off politically PF the UPND. It's Honorable Sampan Chavinga. I came in to provide the solution for ECA when I saw the man depressed, in despair, stranded. The man was in Uka, the man was everywhere because he had no political platform. And I created Tonse Alliance. For ECL, in this constitution of the Tonse Alliance, I enshrined and put ECL as the chairman and the presidential candidate. In short, I brought political solution and cure for ECL and the PF. The headache they had because of the political crisis Honorable Sampa created and Chavinga was cured by myself. It's there. To date, there is Tonse Alliance. To date, Tonse Alliance even had a candidate, a parliamentary candidate in Petauke. Through Tonse Alliance, whose platform who created, it's me. For who? For ECL and the PF and all the Zambian people that believe in regime change. So I come to the table as a solution for ECL and the people of Zambia in the opposition through Tonse Alliance. And as I said, the ECL PF movement was my creation with ECL. They never believed it. I am not the face of PF. Honorable Winter is the face of PF because he's still the acting president of the PF. I don't have a problem with that. We respect him. But the ECL PF movement, political movement, not a party, movement, a non-registered pressure groups of ECL and his loyalists, I am the face because I created it as a solution for ECL to enter Tonse Alliance. So on that match, I can assure you, I stand tall and I stand still and firm. He has more issues to apologize to the PF for trading of the PF. He has more issues even to repent and apologize to the spirit of ECL in death because now we are stuck because of him. He who comes to equity must come with clean hands. I don't think his hands are clean. I don't think his hands are clean. So let's be fair and let's be honest.
We have less than 130 days to go before Parliament dissolves. You haven't chosen a flag bearer. You haven't chosen a leader that we are going to, or the Zambian people are going to go with, in the elections of, this year. What is the plan for choosing a leader?
Yeah, I hear you. We are now under panic as Tonse Alliance. Because of the indecisions and the delays and the procrastination in the PF, that's the reason why we have asked them to step aside to put their house in order. Yesterday, the UPND in Choma, they had a rally. President Hakainde Hichilema was endorsed, I saw that, by a lot of those MPs from Southern Province as their presidential candidate. When there is a World Cup coming and you're participating as a national team, you need to be going for training, you need to be there should be a lot of preparation. The UPND are doing that. They have a candidate and they're everywhere. The Tonse Alliance has been held ransom and hosted because of the politics of divisions, stagnation and procrastination in the PF. Now that the PF party is off the Tonse Alliance, we pray and hope that we're going to have a candidate soonest who will be elected, legitimate chairman and legitimate presidential candidate. We can't be saying Tonse Alliance, or we can't be claiming to be serious in competing for the presidential and general elections in August this year if we don't have a candidate. I agree with the Zambian people's frustrations. That's the reason why those resolutions were made in the best interest to make progress. And I can assure you that where we are standing and where we are today, the members of Tonse Alliance, including those members of the members of parliament and members of the PF that believe in the ECOPF movement, will be going to a congress of the Tonse Alliance and will be able to elect a presidential candidate very soon, and it will be very soon. We pray and hope that we will not have detractors coming our way. Let them focus on what they are good at, and let them leave us to focus on Tonse Alliance, because Tonse Alliance is our creation with ECL. Tonse Alliance is our baby ECL left in our hands. We do not want the people who undermine ECL and undressed him politically to come to Tonse and begin to throw their fingers. We fear them, by the way, because we can't trust them. We hope they leave us to focus on this path. It's a path of hope. It's a path of clear direction, and it's a path that will help us elect with a presidential candidate and a leader. We need that leader soon, and we pray we're going to have that leader soon.
Realistically speaking, do you think there's going to be a regime change come August the 13th?
Yes.
How?
Yes.
How is that possible?
The main opposition to the UPND and President HH is not the opposition leaders, it's not the opposition political parties, it's Zambian people. There are many things the UPND and President HH promised in 2021. If you check their performance indicators, they are below 40 on many sectors, on many fronts of what they promised. So they were put in place as a government based on hope, based on high expectations from the masses. President HH won both Copperbelt and Lusaka convincingly. These are industrial provinces. These are economic provinces. So when the economic indicators are going down in these along the line of rail, I don't see a reason why any sitting government would win, and including this case, President HH. If President Edgar Chagalonga and the PF, we lost, even after we had performed moderately very well in many sectors, we still lost because people believed in the promises of HH. What more President HH was failed to deliver his own promises. And the economic and political indicators have all backslidden and gone down.
Are you able to quantify when you say the political and economic indicators have gone down?
Yes.
Quantify that for the Zambian people.
Politically, for example, I'll give you a straightforward one. In 2021, the civil society movement and the church was with the opposition and with HH. The Catholics inclusive, Oasis Forum, or CIDA, name it. It was a movement of human rights defenders, civil society activists, and religious leaders that helped to champion regime change against Edgar Chagalonga and the PF. And HH is a beneficiary. Today, that movement has crumbled and has abandoned the President HH and the UPND. Today, they are fighting running battles with the Catholic Church on the streets of Lusaka. Today, the many activists and civil society players that championed HH as a political solution, they're denouncing him. Talk about the likes of Mr. Bredna Changara. Talk about the likes of Archbishop Teles Pompondo. Talk about the likes of Dr. Seshua Seshua. The list is endless of many activists, religious leaders that stood with the UPN and HH in 2021 who have abandoned them. So they do not have this political shield and political benefit they enjoyed in 2021 today. Where will it go? it will benefit the opposition once the opposition presents a credible candidate or one or two candidates. They promised that once they form government, the price of milimi will come to 50 kwacha. When it was at between 90 and 120. Today, the price of milimi, the 25 kg bag of milimi, is above 250, in some places 300. They have failed to deliver that. It has doubled, if not tripled. They promised that if they form government, the price of fuel will reduce to a single digit. Edgar Chagalongu, may he so rest in peace, he left the price of fuel at 17 kwacha. Today, we are talking about the price of fuel above 25, 26, 27 kwacha. Sometimes it goes up to 30 kwacha. It's a failure, huge gross failure in terms of an economic indicator. They promised that they're going to end load shedding. But for the past 2 years and some more, the Zambian people predominantly lived in darkness. Many businesses were closed by the man who promised them that they'll never see load shedding. So against all these political and economic indicators of failure, I do not see a reason why such a president and such a government would win. They promised that they're going to enhance progressive constitutional reforms. They threw on the throat of Zambians politically Bill 7, which was resented, which was rejected, which was denounced by many players, including the Constitutional Court. They imposed it on the Zambians, it passed through. At what point do they think people are happy? So there are many political and economic and social dynamics which are pointing to the fact that the UPND government and President HH have an impossible journey to defend power and win second term. It's practically impossible from where I'm standing. Look, I speak this out of good faith because I'm a political scientist, not just because I'm in Tonse Alliance. I was at State House as a political advisor to President Lungu in 2021. So I understand how to win and how to lose an election. Where they are sitting as UPND, they can't win. The reason why, by the way, President Lungu conceded defeat easily is because of people like Newell, who was around him as his political advisor. In 2019, before I went to State House, I was appointed in October. I was a political consultant for the PF. And I presented the paper, a SWOT analysis, before Central Committee, chaired by President Lungu, as a consultant, independent person. And I gave them my same senior assessment that if elections were to be held anywhere in that period, the UPN would win and President Lungu would lose. I was an outsider. Central Committee denounced me. Many of these people denounced me. They hated me. They said, how do you bring such a young consultant to threaten a sitting president? 2 months later, based on his own wisdom, President Lungu appointed me as his advisor because he said, Zimba, I have checked from the system and everywhere. What you presented to us, though we didn't like it, many of my people didn't like it, is a fact. Please come on board as my advisor to try to help me to redeem the situation politically. I was coming on board when the Titanic ship of the PF was sinking. I was being flown with a helicopter to go and save a ship which was sinking at the middle of the sea. And I did my best. We couldn't recover it. So when people begin saying, no, Zimba failed us in 2021, I laugh. And even President Lungu laughs because they are not being honest. I was brought in to come and save a ship which was already sinking deep into the ocean. And by the way, had I not even moved in, based on my own strategies and recommendations to the president and the PF, I don't think it would have won up to 1.8 million. I don't think so. It was bad. It was bad as far back as 2019 in October when I was a political consultant. And that was my position. And that's the reason why President Lungu never left my side from me, even after we lost. He kept me as his political advisor until when he died last year. Because he trusted my judgment and he trusted my political guidance and recommendations at every stage.
According to you, you are of the considered view that the UPND can't win the elections of 2026.
They can't.
Do you think people are already politically fatigued with the UPND? Because I've heard these arguments from those in the UPND. Minister of Information, Cornelius Mwetwa, says that they can't lose based on promises, some of the promises that they haven't achieved. It's not possible that they could only lose based on some of the promises they haven't achieved. In fact, for themselves, they grade themselves with a 98%
delivery or performance.
Delivery, in terms of what they promised.
Okay.
But what is the ground state in? Are they politically fatigued already? In fact, history of our politics shows us that there's no government that has only served for one term. And the UPND say they can't serve for one term because they've over-delivered on their campaign promises.
Yeah, it's one thing to say things as a politician who is enjoying incumbents, but it's another thing to face political realities. I'm not going to speak for the minister who is defending the status quo, because he's a minister, a cabinet minister, and he drives with a flag in front of a car. He has a police officer guarding him. He has all these luxuries and benefits around him. So he can't speak political doom because he'll be fired by his president, his master. Political realities they face as UPND today are not different from what President Chakwera faced in Malawi last year. And he was politically pompous, and his ministers were so arrogant, they spoke in the same manner. They killed any assertion that they are going to lose power, because they said, no, we can't be one-term government. President Chakwera is a man loved by the people. He's going to win with a landslide. And we saw opinion polls, and fake opinion polls coming out of Malawi, projecting that President Chakwera is going to win landslide, because the opposition was fragmented, the opposition was not ready. Guess what happened? Today, as we speak, President Chakwera is no longer president in Malawi. He's history. Who made him history? It is not his ministers who are defending him and misleading him. It is not his party officials who are praising him. It's the people of Malawi, the voters, who made the decision. And President Peter Wamutharika won with a landslide, convincingly, which many of the people in the ruling party then under President Chakwera never expected. They undermined it. My warning to our brother, the Minister of Information, is don't mislead the president. I have worked at State House under a president on a daily basis, working with a president. The worst thing you can never do to a president is to mislead him. The worst thing you should never do around the president is to please him by speaking what he wants to hear. The worst thing you should never do around the president is to give him hope when things are not okay. I'm appeal to those working under President HH, either as cabinet ministers or those at state houses, let them be objective. Let them be honest. Let them begin to tell him the truth. If they rank themselves that they have performed above 90%, they are creating an assumption that they're going to win above 90%. They're misleading themselves. They're misleading the president. We do not want anybody to die out of shock in August. Truth will set them free. Let them begin to get truth. Let them engage competent political assessors to give them reports and feedback, and not themselves, not their cadres, or not their praise singers in universities giving them false and staged opinion polls. Many in August may end up dying out of political shock. It happened in Malawi. Malawi and Zambia share political dynamics. We have the Tonse Alliance collision ourselves in Zambia. We booklifted it through lessons from Malawi. President Chakwera and the late Chilima formed the Tonse Alliance and won 5 years ago. And last time when Sean Tembo and I sat to come up with an alliance for ECL, I told Tembo that, look, we shouldn't go very far. We can use the Kenyan model or the Malawian model. And I explained to him. And we came up with the Tonse Alliance. I said, look, this name resonates to Zambia because it's a Nyanja name. Nyanja is dominant in Malawi, Nyanja is dominant in Zambia, so it resonates.
You understand perfectly the art of politics. From the current crop of leaders that you have in your Tonse Alliance, do you think there's any that is credible enough, that has got the political clout enough to be able to garner enough numbers to beat HH?
Yes.
Who is it?
Yes. I don't need to mention names because I may be cited for campaigning for one or two. Number two is that within the Tonse Alliance, we have got a queue of people who have applied to join. Once we put our house in order, there are more people coming, political players, activists. The Tonse Alliance can elect anybody, either a politician or an activist, provided that person is credible enough to be presented to the Zambian people with a running mate. What will make the candidate of the Tonse Alliance to win may not only because of the candidate, but it will be because of the solidarity that will be provided him through different players. And number two, what will make the Tonse Alliance candidate to win is the resolve by the Zambian people to remove the government of the UPND because it has failed. So it's not necessarily about picking a specific person by myself. We want a democratic process. Why I'm avoiding to mention names is because I am avoiding like to be seen to be endorsing anybody. Even those in the PF, as I said, the presidential candidates, who feel they can come to Tonse Alliance outside the PF party with its liabilities, they are free. They can come as renowned citizens and join, compete. Those others from other alliances or political parties, they are free to come and join Tonse Alliance and compete for the presidential candidates. It is still open. And once we choose that candidate, we believe that, and once we support him collectively, we shall carry the day.
But what will be the terms of reference for this alliance, the Tonse Alliance, in terms of, have you discussed power sharing? Have you already discussed the vehicle that you're going to use to contest the elections? Where are we?
Okay. So where we are today is we have a challenge to secure that because we don't have a presidential candidate. The UPND in 2021 formed the UPND Alliance. Who was the key negotiator for those who are joining? It's President HH because he was a candidate. And he was promising, okay, I'll give you a cabinet seat. Mutati today is a minister. Mr. Milopi is a minister. They joined an alliance which had the presidential candidate and the leader. At this stage as Tonse Alliance, we can't talk about power sharing, who is going to get which slots in cabinet and where, because we don't have a leader, a presidential candidate. Because that's the person who will be elected into power as a president, and that's the person who will be running the state and government, and that's the person who will be sharing. So once we elect a presidential candidate, we'll be in the right place now to begin, each members of the alliance, to begin to negotiate and get commitments or promises from that presidential candidate. And once we form government, it will be pressed upon that presidential candidate, and at that point, president, to honor the commitment he gave to his partners in the alliance. So where we stand today, we can't answer that question because we need to put up the foundation, the frame, the candidate who is going to win us power. He's the only one who is going to help us negotiate with everybody.
Is it true that the FDD is going to be used as a special purpose vehicle?
The FDD is a provisional special purpose vehicle. Provisional meaning temporal. The Tonse General Congress, anytime soon, once we have a presidential candidate, will now sit to review and decide on the final. So if we say it is the special purpose vehicle for 2026 August for presidential elections, the answer is no. That decision has not been made. It can't be made at this stage. For purposes of participating in by-elections, we have used the FDD as a provision or temporal special purpose vehicle. We had people like Honorable Lubinda and Mao Samba and these others from the PF that never wanted us to have a special purpose vehicle for now. They wanted candidates on Tonse Alliance to be contesting as independent. But we said, look, this will be treachery. This will be betrayal to the alliance members. We have too many political parties here. It will be a vote of no confidence in our own political parties under the alliance. So let's choose one of us, one of these political parties, as a provisional special purpose vehicle. And that's how come we chose unanimously FDD as a temporal special purpose vehicle. 2 weeks ago, before the adoption nominations in Kasama by-elections, President Lubinda and Mosam and the team, they came back and said, no, in Kasama, let's put SP, Socialist Party, as a special purpose vehicle. We said, no. Under what circumstances and what conditions? SP is not a member of the Tonse Alliance. So we can't get a non-member of Tonse Alliance as a special purpose vehicle. So we refused. They came back after, I think, 2 days. No. So we maintained FDD in Kasama. 2 days later, they came back. They convened another emergency virtual meeting. They brought back FDD in SP to say, no. FDD has got challenges here and there. They started justifying the same issues, and it brought a lot of anger and chaos. So no. They denounced ECA when I was sick through a leaked audio. They have never apologized. This Tonse Alliance is a vehicle left by ECL. So you can't put SP, a party whose officials denounced ECA when he was in the hospital bed. So we In the Kasaba by-election, they came back twice to still push the SP. We refused as Tonse Alliance Council of Leaders. I said, no, we'll maintain FDD. Because SP, in the first place, never apologized to Tonse Alliance and even to the to ACL over that leaked audio, because that was very hateful to ACL. We used to talk to him. And later on, we saw FSP forming its own alliance. So the issue of the special purpose vehicle is still open, to answer your question. FDD is just a temporal special purpose vehicle, a provisional special purpose vehicle for purposes of participating in these by-elections. By next month, we'll be able to secure a final one through the General Congress.
Last, as we conclude, Doc, for the Zambians that are watching tonight and feel that there's no vision in the opposition, there's no direction in the opposition, what word of hope are you giving the Zambians?
There is direction. The fact that we are now at the point of trying to ensure that we speedily elect a presidential candidate, that's what will give people political direction. You can't have political direction when you have no presidential candidate. And that's a leadership crisis we have suffered from the time ECL died. So currently, as the Tonse Alliance, we are trying to resolve that. And we believe and pray that we shall resolve it as soon as possible to have a presidential candidate. As Tonse Alliance, we can't even launch our manifesto. We can't even make it public or begin to articulate it because it has to be done through a presidential candidate. Remember, Zambia is not a parliamentary democracy. Zambia is a presidential democracy. So power rests on the presidential candidate. Power rests in the presidency. So always people are looking forward to a presidential candidate because it's through that person that they're going to vote for either regime change or to keep the regime, the somebody in power. So very soon, we shall have a new chairman and indeed a presidential candidate under Tonse Alliance. And I believe that from there, political direction, political hope shall be rekindled and shall be restored.
Dr. Zumani Zimba, thank you so much for coming.
It's always my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. I'm thankful. I'm really thankful.
Thank you.
Thank you.